Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Abraham here. This is the passage that people will go to when they try to prove that Old Testament salvation is the same as New Testament salvation. I think already we've definitively proved that that just is not the case just through David here.
I'm sure some people would disagree.
But some people would disagree, sure. So
it doesn't matter how plain it is.
That's right, that's right. There's always workarounds.
How else would he have said it?
Where there's a will, there's a workaround.
That should be a book. How else would he have said it?
How else would he have said it? Yeah, that's right.
Something to work on.
All right, so we get to Romans 4, let's start in verse 1. What shall we say then that Abraham our father, there's the patriarch, okay? And that's what you see throughout the Bible, is him referred to as Father Abraham. So it says, what shall we say then that Abraham our father, now he's careful to say he's our father as pertaining to the flesh.
Yes.
He qualifies that.
Not spiritual.
Not spiritual father. Spiritual comes later. Hath found. And if Abraham were justified by works, he hath whereof to glory, but not before God. For what saith the Scripture? Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. That sounds just like a Gentile New Testament believer's salvation. Mm-hmm. So we need to explore, what is Paul saying here? What is the point that Paul's trying to make? So let's look at the time frame here. Let's go to Romans chapter 4, verses 10 and 11. How was it then reckoned? Now this is, Abraham believed God, and it was counted for righteousness. When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision, not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. So this happens before
he's circumcised.
Before he's circumcised, which is what? What is that for Abraham?
Before the covenant.
Before the covenant, but that's him going from being a Gentile
to a Jew.
To a Jew.
New creation. New creature.
Well, yeah, in this case, yeah, he's going to be the starter of this new nation, is what it is. So this is what Paul is using, is Abraham as a Gentile. Now, you asked earlier about, is Romans 4 to Jews or to Gentiles? Paul is showing Jews that the Gentiles are saved by grace in the New Testament. And he's using Abraham as a picture or a type of Gentile salvation, not Jewish salvation. This gets a little complicated, but follow along with what I'm saying here.
Yeah, keep going.
So the example we have of Abraham believing God, and it was counted him for righteousness, is not after he's circumcised. It's not Moses under the law. It's not the Jews under the law. This is before the law ever came, before Abraham was ever circumcised, before there was ever a Jew. He's showing Abraham as a type of Gentile salvation. Okay, so verse 11, and he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness may be imputed unto them also. So this is not about Old Testament Jewish salvation. This is about Abraham given this special counting of righteousness, this special imputing of righteousness, so that he can be the father of those...
Of not just Jewish people.
Not just Jewish people, it's got nothing to do with Jewish salvation. They're under the law. This is not just Jewish people, but Gentile people to come someday. This is looking forward to after the cross. All right, and where does that happen? That happens in Genesis 17. The context here is not Jewish Old Testament salvation. It's Gentile New Testament salvation. So it's very important that we understand what Romans 4 is talking about and the point Paul's trying to make. Abraham is not a picture of all Old Testament people. Abraham is an anomaly. He is an exception, just like Dave is an exception. So that Paul could point back to something in the Old Testament and say, this is what Gentile salvation is like. And